One final question, sir. Because you mentioned Ambedkar, and Ambedkar wrote his book, Annihilation of Caste, which had an implicit argument of annihilation of religion in the sense Hinduism structures or orders caste as an ontological hierarchy. And so when we have a constitutional principle of equality, say, for example, or the constitutional principle of giving equal opportunities to different kinds of people, if we have competing ideological structures which orders existence in certain ways, one is absolute hierarchy, one is horizontal equity. So how do you choose between them in terms of the lexicographic ordering while not reducing the rights of certain groups who are claiming that in this secular Indian state, the Brahminical order as well as the Dalit liberation, they both occupy, the same space.
Well, caste is a very complicated thing. It's not the same thing all over India. Caste in Haryana is very different from caste in Maharashtra, very different from caste in the south. And I think it's foolish to think that it's one phenomenon. But you're certainly right that that mere legislation, and it's not a matter of secularism really. It's a matter of affirmative action legislation that Ambedkar, was a remarkable formulator of affirmative action in form of minority rights of various kinds for Dalits and for Sharia tribes. And I think that is a phenomenon which is completely different. And the fact is that at the end of his life, in the last few years, Ambedkar realized that legislation is insufficient, maybe necessary, of course. But, he broke his lion's heart, thinking that legislation would overcome this, and it didn't.
For sure.
And it's you see, what happened in the 80s onwards is partly that with Mandal and the influence of Mandal in politics, it changed the politics from the 80s onwards. And there's no doubt that once the whole question of backward castes also was introduced into politics, there was a kind of democratization of Indian politics, because you found all sorts of people from castes that had no privilege of power whatsoever began to be given some power privilege, but that it created a whole culture of benefits, and so that was, it had two sides. It was tremendously democratizing. This kind of thing had never happened before under the whole Nehruvian period. It's pretty much hyper-caste. The Mandalization of politics created a kind of participatory electoral success of castes we'd never had that before. And there's no doubt that is participatory and democratic, and it's a good development. But with neoliberal capital, this took the form of basically creating a culture of benefits. And now you find that there are tendencies which will make it very hard to annihilate castes, because castes want to keep their identity in order to get for instance, caste panchayats force, a sort of retention of indigenous conceptions of caste.
Kind of a contradiction. What affirmative action was, intended to do was...
under neoliberalism, Ambedkar's idea was you empower castes, and when they are empowered enough, you'll annihilate. But if empowerment under neoliberalism takes the form of this culture of benefits, that people want to retain the caste identity to continue to get the benefits, and as a result, annihilation of caste keeps receding as a goal. That's a very difficult thing. You have to really re-theorize the whole thing.
No. Your concluding remarks on Indian Muslims, because you're working on it, maybe because you also have a ethnic background or social background from Muslim lineage. How do you think that problem in India really needs to be tackled? Just final remarks, some observations.
Well, one of the things is that Hindutva has spread quite successfully in the cultural domain. And it's not obvious that Hindutva will spread to the south. They're starting to, you see, but Hindutva seems like a northern imposition on the south. So unless Hindutva adapts to southern Hinduism and creates a new sort of entirely new complexion for Hindutva in the south will not accept Hindutva. So that's one. So if you have a stronger federalism, you could have the south at least and Bengal. Who knows? We'll see now. But already Hindutva is making inroads. They're talking about Kumbhmela and Kerala and things like that. So they're seeing the importance of not making Hindutva seem like an imposition on the south, how to adapt Hindutva to southern Hinduism.
Terminologies and experiences and practices.
And so on. So those are the things to watch out for.
They're basically internalizing Hindutva, like the way
they're setting the agenda. So even the left will then have to, stop
responding to the.
That's what the Congress has been doing in the north anyway. So